Thank you, Gloria, and thank you, Fern and Jack. Thank all of you for being very attentive. Hello. So, I'm Tony Paglia. I'm the personal counselor here at the campus. I know that we're getting kind of late in our hour and that a lot of you need to get to class. I want to keep my remarks brief, but I do have some things I want to share with you. You've heard some emotional stories today, some statistics that I want to just briefly reiterate. In 2015, more people died in the United States from drug overdoses than from car accidents. In PA and Ohio combined, over 6,500 deaths. That's 10 people a day, as Jack said. In the United States, last year, 47,000 deaths from overdoses. Think about Pittsburgh's PNC Park, completely filled to capacity, and 9,000 more people standing outside. That's how many people died in the United States last year. Since the year 2000, up until last year, we're talking about 500,000 people that have died from drug overdoses. That's the extent of this epidemic. Think about the population of the state of Wyoming, completely wiped off the map. It's a lot of people. What we want to keep in mind is that the fact that most of the lives claimed during this epidemic are not necessarily all people who have struggled with lifelong addiction. Most of these deaths are the result of individuals who were initially prescribed pain medication for legitimate reasons. Becoming addicted can happen so easily, and it's scary. We're talking about this today because we want you and your loved ones to live. Now, I want to speak to the traditional age, college-age students in the room, because you are an at-risk population for opiate addiction. The Betty Ford Clinic did a national study in 2015 of students and non-students between the ages of 18 and 24. The results were about the same across the board, whether they were students or non-students. 16% of students at that age have at some point in their life used pain pills that were not prescribed to them. 1 in 3 surveyed said that pain pills were easy to get. Half of the respondents said they had ways of getting pain pills within 24 hours of deciding that they wanted. Now this statistic that I'm going to share with you presents a real concern. 63%, about 2 out of 3 students that were surveyed, believe that prescription pain pills are less addictive than heroin. And that's not true. Prescription opioid narcotics have the same ingredients as heroin. So there's some education needed there, and I hope we've begun as a result of this program today to begin to raise your awareness about that. Here's another scary one. 11% of respondents reported having taken a pill and not knowing what it was that they just took. Please don't do that, folks. A third of those surveyed said they've known someone who overdosed. But 37%, a little more than 1/3, said they wouldn't know where to go for help if they or someone they knew experienced an overdose. And I hope that you've gotten some of those resources here today. Now, many of the students in the survey who reported using opioid painkillers did so primarily not to get high, but to reduce anxiety and stress, or to help with sleep. That's the reason a lot of these people seem to be going to these drugs in this age group. Let's face it, being stressed, somewhat anxious, having sleep difficulties. Does that sound familiar to any of the students in this room? It's par for the course, right? I think we can all agree that most people get stressed out, worried, sad, or angry about things at some point in their lives. Life is an emotional ride. And so developing healthy ways to cope with emotions is an essential skill. But not all of us make it to adulthood equipped with those skills. And sometimes, well, we turn to other means to cope with life problems that frankly may not be healthy for us. Unfortunately, many of us have grown up having been taught not to talk about our problems because we've been told they're nobody else's business. Maybe we don't believe that anyone else would really care to listen. Maybe we've been taught not to express our emotions. And because maybe in our experience that hasn't been a safe thing to do with certain people. Maybe we've been taught not to ask for help because it's been drilled into us that asking for help is a sign of weakness. So what does that do? Those kinds of beliefs may leave a person alone, isolated and with bottled up emotions that sooner or later, one way or another, are going to burst. And that is when they're going to need understanding and support. It is those kinds of distorted beliefs and unrealistic expectations of ourselves that have led to the stigma that surrounds taking care of our emotional health. So I want to challenge each and every one of you to question those beliefs. To ask yourself, to consider that there might be people in this world who care about you and who are willing to listen. I ask you to consider that your emotions, however difficult they are, might be valid and normal for what you're going through, and that asking for help might actually be a sign of courage and strength. Think about what you'd tell a friend if you knew that they were going through a difficult time in their life. You'd say, talk to me. Don't keep it bottled up inside, right? I challenge each of you to give yourself that same good advice when difficult times emerge in your life. So I'm up here today because I want to encourage you to have the courage to use resources right here on this campus that are free to you. You don't have to come see me. You've got all this out in the community. I'll point you toward resources if you need it. But if you're struggling with overwhelming emotions related to school, relationships, work, other difficult experiences, if you're struggling with an addiction, or if you just need someone to talk to for any reason, I want to invite you to come to the counseling office, Sharon Hall, 207, and sit down and let's talk. I make a promise to you that you'll be treated respectfully and with privacy. Maybe you're concerned about a friend or a classmate. Please encourage them to come down to my office. You can even walk them down to see me if you need to. This program exists today because we want to open up a dialogue about mental health and substance abuse so that people don't feel like they need to put up a false image of, I'm okay. And what they really need is to talk about the struggles that they face and to feel a sense that there are resources to help. Because the fact is that most of us are struggling with something. Next Wednesday, we're going to continue this dialogue here at the campus, and I want to invite you all to attend a film screening of the 2014 film, The Skeleton Twins. This is next Wednesday, October 19th at 12:15 in Sharon Hall, 108, right over here, the room that they recently renovated and reopened. You might be familiar with the film's two stars. They're former actors on the TV show Saturday Night Live, Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig. Although they're famous for their work in comedy, they both turn in some fantastic dramatic performances, and they portray an estranged brother and sister who are suddenly reconnected and are dealing with some fallout in their lives. We'll provide some pizza. I hope you'll join us for the film, some food, and some discussion. Ultimately, as the counselor here at the campus, my goal is to support your goals, to get that Penn State degree that you're chasing, to achieve your dreams, to live, and to live well, to not become another statistic of opiate addiction in a more extreme sense, but also to overcome the other struggles, to work your way through any emotional pain that might be creating barriers toward your goals, perhaps simply to talk about some of the things that you've heard during the Stamp Out Stigma program today. Come see me. I will look forward to talking with you. Thank you all for listening.
Thanks, Tony. We are out of time. It's 1:15. I want to thank you all for being here. Before you go, I just want to say this event would be nothing without the students. This event started as a club project. I would like to see it continue as a club project. Right back there at the back table, there are some young ladies taking sign-ups for HDFS Club. If you want to be part of Stamp Out Stigma 2017, please go sign up. I look forward to working with you next year. Perhaps one of you could even be up on stage with us. Thank you all for coming. Penn State Shenango. Love you.
Good.